Hi, everyone. My name is Tobias, and I used to have a fairly ordinary life. I was born to a mom and a dad who were married. We lived in a house that had a big backyard. We lived in an alright neighborhood. My mom stayed home to look after me and my sisters. My dad worked at an office job. I played catch with my dad lots of nights after supper in our backyard. He seemed so proud to have a son. But sometimes, when there were stories happening on the news to do with people who had less money than us, I'd hear him make comments to my mom. In the beginning, I didn't think much about it. I suppose because my dad was my dad and I'd been around him all my life, so his attitude didn't surprise me. But as I got a bit older and became a teen, it became clear to me that my dad and I weren't always going to agree. Unfortunately, I learned this the hard way. I went to the school dance, and there was a girl there from my class who was really shy, and her clothing is very ordinary. Sometimes you can see where it has been mended multiple times. Despite being so shy, she had gone to the dance. She was wearing a dress, but it wasn't new like some of the other girls. And she hadn't had her hair and makeup professionally done, like some of the popular crowd either. But despite this, I know that she's one of the most intelligent students in her class, and there was something about her that made me want to get to know her better. My friends told me that I could do so much better. I wondered about that. What was better than being kind or nice to someone? We talked for a few minutes and then a song came on that I really liked, so I asked her to dance. Her name was Samantha. We had a really good time, and I asked her if I could see her again. She agreed. The problem was that I didn't feel like I could tell my dad, because I didn't want us to lose the relationship that we had. Basically, I didn't want to lose my dad. And he has this thing about where everyone belongs in society. And I didn't know how my mom felt about it. I searched my memory, but couldn't think of a time when she had commented one way or the other. So, either she felt like my dad, or that is why she had never said anything because he'd said it. Or she felt differently, but didn't get into an argument about her beliefs with my dad, especially in front of her kids. What I didn't expect was for pictures to be taken of us and put on the internet. Social media outed me to my friends, and my dad found out too because a mutual friend showed him the pictures. I was horrified when my dad sat me down on the couch that night and asked me if it was a practical joke. I felt sick to my stomach. I didn't know what to say to my dad. Should I tell him the truth or tell a lie? It was like my mouth couldn't form the words. I was in such a state. "What's wrong with it?" I asked. "You're a Robertson," said my father. "That girl isn't who you should be with. Her family won't be able to keep up with ours. Better to break it off now, before you get yourself hurt." "Why? She's smart and her smile is so pretty, and she's kind to me," I answered. "What's wrong with that?" "She's out of your league, son," said my dad. "I have big plans for you, and you won't be able to get there with her by your side." "You could be surprised by her," I answered. "If she can get a scholarship, I bet she can even go further than I can." "What does she want to do after high school?" asked my dad. "I don't know," I answered. "We're still getting to know each other. Why does it even matter to you? You've never even met her." "I just want the best for you," said my dad. "Then stay out of my personal business," I replied, and stalked off to my room. I was so mad that I got up and went to my room. I slammed the door shut and lay on the bed, staring at the ceiling for a long time. It was then that I began to withdraw from my dad, and in doing so, I felt the rest of my family drifting farther away from me. I suppose so as not to upset him. It was a difficult and confusing time for me. I continued to see Samantha, but I hid that from my family. We started spending time together at school, but some of my friends didn't want to get to know her, and it ended some long-running friendships. I felt heartbroken by the way things were going. I cared about Samantha so much, and hated the way that things were going, just because her family didn't have a lot of money. I wanted more for my life, and I wanted more for my relationship with Samantha. At home, since I was spending more and more time by myself, I started borrowing more books from the library. I learned about video gaming, and decided to create my own game. I created a beautiful place where everyone was happy, and people got points by being kind to each other. It wasn't easy going, because I had to learn about coding, but I discovered that I really liked this sort of thing. A year after starting the game, I finally had the majority of the glitches worked out, and I was ready to sell it. I put an ad in the school paper, and some kids bought it. I didn't make a lot of money, offering them at $5 each, but I did get enough money to make the entrance fee to a video gaming competition. The competition was a few towns away. I told my parents that I was going, but that I was going to take the bus, and that I didn't want a lot of spectators to make me nervous. I didn't tell them that Samantha was coming with me. That might have been a mistake, because after I won the whole competition, we hugged and kissed, and cameras were flashing pictures. One of us hugging was published on the front page of the newspaper, along with me accepting my prize from the judges. A few days later, there was a phone call at home, and one of the video game representatives wanted to have a meeting with me. My dad demanded that he could go with me, and I couldn't say no because I wasn't 18 yet. I was nervous about the meeting because my dad had been none too happy that he was unaware that I hadn't heeded his advice when it came to Samantha. However, he seemed to be treating me with kid gloves, maybe because he realized that I could make something of myself without his money or his blessings. At the meeting, the rep offered me $1 million and a scholarship to study video gaming even more intensely. I couldn't wait to start this new chapter of my life, and I hoped that Samantha would accept to join me. Now, we had a million reasons why things could work with us, and why neither of us would ever have to be left behind as we lived our individual dreams together. I was still angry with my dad for the way he had acted about Samantha, and that the classmates had posted the photos online without my permission. But I suppose that it had an upside, because if things hadn't happened as they did, I might never have discovered my passion for creating video games. I had taken something rough and turned it into something better. A few days after the meeting, my family planned a surprise celebration in my honor, and I was surprised to find Samantha and her family there. They seemed to get along okay with my family. Although I was feeling a bit on edge, with worry about the what-ifs of the situation, I was looking forward to what the future had to hold. I knew that my relationship with my family would still take a while to work on, but I was willing if they were, and if they made sure that Samantha was a welcome part of the family. I was already thinking of the next video game that I wanted to create. I bet a lot of my classmates would want to own this one, and it was a really good feeling.